Hello friends, and welcome to Garden with Creekside. It is an absolutely gorgeous spring-like day here in North Carolina, and I'm going to take full advantage of it. We are going to plant up 3 different containers. 2 of those are going to have my first spring/summer annuals in them. I am so excited. It is going to be a glorious day, and then I'm going to take you on a quick little tulip tour. So you can see those behind me. They are starting to bloom. So we have got flowers popping out everywhere here in our North Carolina Zone 8A garden. So I have the John Deere right here, Johnny, as we affectionately call him, loaded up with all of my supplies. So let me show you the plants that we are going to plant today, and then we're going to hit those containers, get them knocked out so that we can enjoy this stunning day in the garden. I mean, look at that Carolina blue sky. Cannot ask for better weather than this. I think it's supposed to get like to 80 today. So might even be wearing some shorts. So if I blind you, I apologize with my little white legs, but it is a glorious day. Here we go. The John Deere is loaded up with all sorts of goodies. The plants that we're going to do. First of all, back here in the backyard on the patio, we are going to do the 2 urns on the seating wall. This is the Laguna Compact Blue with eye. This is a beautiful, nice, dark, rich blue that has that white eye in the center of it. And so I have 10. I don't know that I'm going to use 10. These, of course, are those grande containers. This is a beautiful plant. It can handle the cool temperatures because that is something, everything that I am doing today can handle cooler temperatures. I am not going to be out here planting the hot weather stuff, the coleus, the pentas, the lantana, the avobulus, the begonias. I'm not doing that. I am taking plants that can handle those low 30 temperatures and can handle it without a problem. So that's the one thing I'm going to caution you on. If you're going to put your containers out, either buy those plants or plant the plants rather that can handle those cool temperatures, or be prepared to cover them, protect them, bring them in. Because let me tell you, winter is not done with us. She's going to come roaring back, and we're going to have at least another freeze, another frost is going to happen. So prepare your hearts for that and plan accordingly. So the Laguna Compact Blue with eye can absolutely handle that. Gorgeous plant. This is a lobelia. So there you go. On the front porch, we are going to replant the 2 urns that I have down by the edge of the steps. This is Georgia Peach. Georgia Peach is an absolutely gorgeous euchera. The ones that I have in there were not Georgia Peach, but they took a massive, massive hit in the wintertime with all of those cold temperatures. So we're going to freshen up those containers. Eucheras work really well there, but I love the Georgia Peach, so we're going to put those there as well. And then we're going to head up to the chicken coop and plant my kind of that copper pot that I have that is a hanging basket, and we're going to use Goldilocks rocks. Up at the chicken coop, I love using big, bold colors, and Goldilocks rocks is going to fit in perfectly up there. Massive flowers on it that are already blooming. These have been hanging outside at the nursery and have had those colder temperatures. Not a problem. Nice and happy. This is going to be a full sun plant, nice and kind of sprawling. I have 5. I think 5 will work quite nicely in there. Your pollinators love this plant. So those are the plants we're going to use. And then, of course, I have my supplies. All of the containers that I do, I always use the Proven Winners potting soil. It works really, really well here in our climate. I love this potting soil, so that is what I'm going to use. Of course, everything gets biotone, whether it's an annual, perennial, tree, shrub, does not matter. Biotone starter fertilizer goes in there, and I have some of the Land and Sea. I'm going to show you my little trick when I do containers. And then we top dress with either the Land and Sea or the Daddy Pete soil conditioner. So that just kind of gives a nice top dressing to everything. Got my watering can. I have my Proven Winners, the continuous release plant food. This is a great slow release fertilizer for your annuals. So when I pot up annuals, I will use this in the containers. Yes, the PW soil has some in there, but I have such a long growing season, I need a little extra oomph, so I have that. Of course, my tool belt with all my supplies in it. So what we are going to do, first, we're going to start back here on the patio. I'm going to grab 2 of these lobelias. We're going to walk up here. We're going to see me show you what my thought process is. So here on the back seating wall, we have these 2 urns from Unique Stone. This is the Weston urn, and I have in here a Forever Goldie. Now the Forever Goldie has been in here all fall and winter long, has done really, really well. Very nice and hardy, has that gorgeous color to it. I love it. Now, the idea is that I'm going to come in here and put these lobelias in here. Let's just pretend that they're planted right there, okay? Because the color contrast on those 2 would be stunning. However, once we start going in here and planting, that is going to be interesting because these Forever Goldies have been in this container for a couple of months now. I don't know, I suspect maybe that their roots have completely filled in this container. If it has, and there's not any room for the annuals, then I'm going to I can't even talk, pull the Forever Goldies out and just plant the lobelias. I want to is add them around the Forever Goldie. We're going to see how much room that I have available as far as soil goes. So we're just going to play that one by ear. So what I'm going to do is get on my supplies, and we're going to see, we'll see how these urns turn out. I'm not sure which way we're going to go, but we'll figure it out. It's going to be fabulous either way. All right, my friends, we got both of the urns planted. Thankfully, as you can tell, I was able to keep the Forever Goldies in there, add those lobelias. Oh, I love the color contrast between these 2 plants, the texture difference, everything about it. So yeah, I just got my hory, kind of dug my hole, sprinkled that biotone, that continuous release fertilizer around there. So when I was digging my hole, that fertilizer slipped down in there. Don't worry about adding like too much fertilizer to Forever Goldie. She's been in a container for months. She needs a little food. So that could, whatever food was in there has leached out probably with all of the rain that we get in the wintertime. So it definitely will help to get that little bit of food in there for the Forever Goldie. You can mix them. It's all right. Don't overthink it. And then got everything watered in. So this one was the last one that I did. So the plants may be a little smushed just because of having that water on them. But yeah, so you can see, put 5 of them in there. I don't want to put any more than that in there because it will really overcrowd the plant and I will just have to water. It is on drip irrigation, but we don't have the irrigation turned on right now because we are typically having cooler temperatures, a little bit more consistent rain, and I don't want to run the whole system. So if I do need to water it, I can do it by hand very easily. So yeah, so both of them are done. Kind of give you a big picture of both of them in there. I know the sun is not the most cooperative thing right now, but got those sweet babies in there, and yeah, easy as that. This one's already a little bit more perkier. Look at that. Gorgeous. Speaking of gorgeous, sweet thing over there, she does not know how to handle this heat. So she's just like, oh my gosh, mama, it's hot. That dog would love to have temperatures in the negatives over temperatures in the 80s plus, but I digress. All right, now let's move it to the chicken coop and get the Goldilocks rocks in their new home. All right, my friends, so we are up at the chicken coop. I have got my Goldilocks rocks right here. This is the container that we're going to plant in. It's a beautiful copper, brass, I don't know, pot, and it has a chain that hangs on it. This goes on the side of the chicken coop. It does have a drain hole. It is nice and deep, so we're going to have plenty of room to put lots of good soil in here. My trick for my containers is that I always put the bottom third of the container with my compost. Learned this trick several years ago from a Fine Gardening magazine article. It is great. It works really well. And so the idea is that you put that compost in the bottom third. So once the roots hit that level, it's a whole nother section of nutrients available to the plants. So then you just come back with your potting soil and you top it off. Hopefully the end of this bag will be the perfect amount for me. That would be lovely if that worked out. Had an old container in there, use it as my scoop. Let's see here. All right, I think that's gonna work. So I leave a little bit of a lip so that way when I water it, it doesn't overflow. I'm gonna go ahead and sprinkle in my fertilizers. That way when I am planting these, that will just go ahead and get worked right on in. So we've got that, a little bit the biotone. Perfect. Now, I have 5 of the Goldilocks rocks. So we're just gonna snug them down in here. And then I am going to top dress either with the Land and Sea or the pine bark vines. Either one of those will work. Might do the Land and Sea simply because I'm not gonna see the top of this container because it's gonna be hanging there. And that Land and Sea will add, again, just a whole another layer of nutrition to the container. Now, with my Goldilocks rocks, these are full sun. They love this sun. Like I said earlier, the pollinators go nuts over these plants. They love these flowers. Once they start blooming, which is, of course, now, then they will just go ahead and continue to bloom. Can I help you? Do you need something? Can I finish doing my pot now? Did you want a container? Oh, she came for the container. Excuse her. All right, so all I will have to do is just make sure these get lots of good, delicious water. And then with your flowering annuals, of course, the more prolific the blooms that they produce means that they need the food. So you have to feed your annuals, especially the ones that are blooming, because food equals flowers. That's why we're doing the time release fertilizer. We're doing the biotone for those nice, strong, healthy roots, and using the compost. So there we go. We've got all 5 in. I'm just going to top dress with Land and Sea, and then we're going to hang it up and get it watered, and I'll show it how it looks here in just a second. All right, my friends, so there you go. Container number 2 is done. Just let her sit here, soak up all this delicious sunshine and heat that we are having. And there you go. All the other winter, fall, early spring annuals here are doing fantastic. They look gorgeous. Bringing in this nice poppy yellow, of course, it just adds to that color. This will carry me on through spring into summer until she doesn't. I don't know. We'll just see how long it goes. But super excited about this. Love it. It is so cheery. I can see this container all the way from my kitchen. So when I'm sitting there doing dishes or cooking or whatever, I can see it up here looking so happy and cheery. Very excited about it for sure. So what we're going to do is move to the front porch. Last container of the day before we take our tulip tour. And we're going to put in some beautiful Georgia peaches. All right, my friends. So here we are, front porch steps, right? And it was a tough year for the euchras, man. This is probably the coldest winter for the longest period of time that we have had. And not only was it cold for us, but we also had many times where we had a lot of wind in the cold, and it just did an absolute number on these plants. I have another companion container exactly like this, just on the other side of the steps, and looking rough. This one actually has some new growth popping up in here. The other one has really no signs of life. So what I'll do is pop these out. I will repot this one for sure. When I take the other one out, I'll kind of investigate to see if it's still alive. Look at the roots. Is it really smushy? Does it just absolutely fall apart? If that's the case, it's dead. Go to the compost pile. If it's nice and firm and I see new growth coming, then we can rehab that and use it for another project sometime later once it bounces back. So what I'm going to do is just take this out. We're going to see how much roots are in here. I suspect that they're pretty deep. Once we do that and look, we will go ahead and do that same method that we just did with the Goldilocks rocks. We will take our compost, we will put it in the bottom third, and then we will take our Proven Winners potting soil, stick that in there. I'm going to show you a little trick because these Georgia peaches are absolutely gorgeous. They are nice and full, and I don't want to mess up the foliage. So there's a little trick that you can plant this without any disturbance to the foliage whatsoever. So I will show you that. It's very simple. The only difference that I'm going to do here as opposed to the last two containers is I'm not going to use that Proven Winners continuous release fertilizer. I'm still going to use the biotone for that healthy, strong root growth. I'm not going to use the PW because that is for your flowering annuals. This Georgia peach will flower these beautiful little creamy white flowers, but it is primarily a foliage plant and it is a perennial, hardy in zones 4 to 9, as opposed to my annuals that simply are annuals. Remember, annuals will last for 1 growing season. Perennials, by definition, are 2 seasons or 2 years or more, barring any kind of crazy weather that may happen. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll just kind of zoom the camera in a little bit and y'all can watch me plant. And then once these Georgia peaches are in, then we're going to take a little tulip tour because I see it right in front of me. I have got some big apricot tulips starting to show some color. So I want to show you those. All right, my friends. So the trick is take the plant out of your container, put it where you want it, where you want the plant to be. Put in your soil, put in your fertilizer, put in your top dressing, put everything in around that pot. If some falls in the pot, don't worry about it. It's fine. You can just throw it in the bag. It'll be fine. Pack it in really, 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 really tight, okay? You want that soil to be completely compacted around this pot. Next, very carefully wiggle, shake it just a little bit, and pull it straight up. You have the perfect hole right here that my plant is going to fit in. Decide which way you want your plant to go in, and then I'm going to take it and simply drop it in. There you go, my friends. That way we're not going to mess up any of the foliage on Georgia peach by coming in here and trying to pack it in and do all the things to it. Georgia peach is going to do really, really well in this container because one is rated for zones of 4 to 9. It has the Velosa species of genetics in it, so it is going to be able to handle the heat and humidity that our North Carolina summers throw at it, because heaven knows it gets hot and humid here. Velosa euchera are the ones that you find native in the southeast. We actually have some growing on the creek bank. So it has those genetics in it, so it can really handle the heat and humidity, which for us is a big deal because certain eucheras just cannot handle that. Also, it is rated as full sun to part sun, which is great because it is 1:45 in the afternoon. It is March, but typically, even in the summer, this spot stays in the shade till about 2:30, 3 o'clock or so, and then it gets full intense hot afternoon sun. These will be able to handle that, be in the shade the vast majority part of the day, but they do get the hot sun. With some plants that can be a little bit problematic, not Georgia peach. So all I have to do is water her in and then do the other one, and then we can go take our tulip tour. Okay, my guys, we have got both of the Georgia peaches in their containers, got everybody watered in. So let's go take a tulip tour right real quick. I'm going to show you what they look like, the Georgia peaches in. They might look a little smush because they got watered, but I am loving that color. So pretty. So there's one, and then next door is its sister. And there you go. So if you see a Georgia peach, make sure you grab a Georgia peach, especially if you live in the South with the heat and the humidity. You're going to want those. And if you can't find a Georgia peach, look for those that have the Velosa breeding in them, because that will make all the difference in the world. So let's go on a tulip tour. If you are a faithful watcher of Gardening at Creekside, you know that in the fall / early winter, we planted over 10,000 spring flowering bulbs, and all that work is paying off, my friends. So here you go. This is a great snapshot. This is what I see outside my kitchen window. Ignore the weeds down here. Just forget that. You don't see that. What you're looking at, what I'm focusing on, is the beauty. So here we have, this is the Grand Purisma. I think that's how you say it. Tulips. Nice, pretty yellow. Now, it is warm today, and so it is like 2 o'clock in the afternoon or so. So these are nice and wide open. There are so many that are not even opened yet. There are 700 in this section right here. Megan and I planted these, so we still have a long way to go before those are open. And then look there in the back. Don't you love that? That is the daffodils, the jonquils, that just do amazing here, and they smell so incredibly good. That is a gigantic star, and then we have the little hyacinths in there as well. Cobalt C, I want to say it's a blend of a dark purple, a light blue, and a white. So just give you a little bit of an up close. I know they're not tulips, but that's all right. There you go. The daffodils have been blooming for quite a while, and so it looks like some of them are on their way out. And then there are the little sweet little the grape hyacinths. Grape hyacinths? Yeah. So if you have gigantic star, or if you don't have gigantic star, definitely add it to your list, because the fragrance is absolutely intoxicating. All right, we're going to head to the back, show you shocks and struts. While I was walking, I forgot to give you a quick little update on the garden boxes, because we have a tulip blooming, but we have some beautiful, oh my gosh, y'all, look at those sweet babies, those hyacinths, and they too smell amazing. There's 10 in here. I had only bought 10 of this pink. This is from Eden Brothers. So there's 3, there's 4 right here. There's another one in the back. Oh, there's 6. So we still have a couple more that are coming up. And then if you remember, this was a whole blend of tulips and daffodils that I did. And then look at that one. This is my first tulip in here. Is that not sweet? It's got some yellow with the pink. Absolutely beautiful. So cannot wait for the rest of these boxes to go ahead and begin blooming. And then of course the anemones up here, those 2 are from Eden Brothers. All right, now we're gonna go to the back. As we make our way to the patio, you can see shocks and struts. They are blooming. It always happens that the tulips in the beds right here will always bloom first, because it is toasty. So a couple of these are getting to be a little bit done. Again, tulips open and close every night, every morning. So they are happy, and they are fully wide open and absolutely gorgeous. So the shocks and struts is a blend. So basically, as far as I can tell, you've got 3 colors. Let me come down here. You can see a little bit better down here. So you have got like the lighter pink that's in the front, dare say something that has a little bit of orange, and then you have a hot pink. So there you go right there. And then of course the deck boxes. They are nice and in bloom and happy. They are a little short, and so that's all right. It is the flower power that I care about, and they are just beautiful. Still have quite a few down in here that still have not even opened up yet. So we've got quite a ways to go. The heat of the day, today's 80, and then tomorrow and the next day are both 76, and then we cool off again. So having those cooler days will certainly hold the tulips longer and keep them in bloom longer. And that's just nothing that we can control around here. So it is what it is. I've learned to just simply enjoy where they are, and if they only bloom for a short amount of time, then that is fine. But that section definitely blooms earlier, and then as we make our way into the yard, they come along. So the ones down here are just now starting to show color, and then the ones in the flower beds are showing no color because they are the last ones to get the sun in the day. So we don't have any color on that yet, which honestly is just fine because again, it extends the bloom time for me. So that's all right. I'm not gonna probably get that shot with the drone or a camera where they're all in bloom at the exact same time, just because there's such little microclimates back here in the garden. But that's all right because it just, like I said, it extends my bloom time. So I'm very happy about that. Now, one last section, we're gonna go look at the berm because the big apricot is showing color, kind of that same thing. You'll see it progresses from in flower to no flowers. And then we're talking about the signature garden as well. Okay, so behind me, the privacy berm, we have got the big apricot beginning to bloom. Again, it starts at the top because that's where it hits the sun. The sun hits there first, and then as we progress down, we don't have any color yet. But again, can't be mad about that, now can we? So let's go take a look. I learned from last year that I wanted to do like a single color, so it would be more in mass, and we would have tons of big pops of color right here. And so far it is working out quite well. Again, though, you can see we're kind of all over the place as far as our blooms. So basically, like you can see in here, we had maybe 6 bulbs in here. We've got 2 that are nice and full, and then we've got 4 that are still just in the nice tight bud stage. So we still have a long way to go on these guys to get nice and full and open. But yeah, so much fun to see these guys. And because with it being big apricot, we can see it from the house. So that is very good. Whew, I'm out of breath because I was hoofing it across the field. Okay, signature garden. So the signature garden and then the tulips at the nursery are definitely the ones that are most delayed because of the way that the sun hits. And so they don't get sun until later on in the morning. So it's a cooler area as opposed to like my patio that you could fry an egg on. And so they're going to be a little bit more delayed. So if you're planning on coming to the garden center, I'm thinking, because today is middle of March, I'm thinking like end of March. I was looking back at photos from the last 2 years, and this year we're definitely behind those years. Again, we've had a cooler winter than we've had in a very long time. So everything I would say is pushed back by at least like 2 weeks or so. So that's just, you never know from year to year what it's going to be. So I think probably the tulips at the signature garden, the nursery, again, will start to show some really good color at the end of March, 1st of April. So I'll keep you updated on that. But as always, if you have found this video informative and inspirational and educational, we would love it if you would like and subscribe to the Gardening with Creekside channel. That way you don't miss any of our 5 videos that come out each week. Y'all have an amazing day. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.